Hello, everyone. This is Tracy Armstrong with Success Church. Today, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, every single Wednesday, we're here to meet with you to talk to you about what the Bible says about success, how you can grow your income, how you can grow yourself, primarily how you can grow yourself through the Word of God. If you grow yourself, you'll always grow your income. So we know that the kingdom of God works that way. So I'm excited to be in your space. Welcome. And we're going to talk about some good things today in the Word of God. I wanted to kind of give you this picture. You can't hear on YouTube. Ooh, can't hear on YouTube. Can't hear on YouTube. That's interesting. Can you hear anywhere? Can you hear? Can you hear anywhere? Can't hear on YouTube. That's interesting. What do I do with that? All right, I might have to start over because it says I have good audio, and it's done this a couple of times. Let me just check settings real quick. Thank you, Najma. Appreciate you telling me about what's going on YouTube. Can't hear on YouTube. If you can hear in any other location, any other place, can't hear on YouTube. I don't actually have direct communication with YouTube. Anyone else having? Can hear you on my YouTube app, just not on my computer. Yeah, that's interesting. All right, so maybe there's something with your computer that you're not getting sound out of your computer. Is there anyone else having challenges with hearing at all on YouTube, on Instagram? Yeah, Instagram is good. Okay, Najma, thank you for letting me know on YouTube that you're having trouble on the computer, but you can hear on the app. So the audio is going through. We're going to continue on. So years ago, when I first started ministry, I started ministry just as someone who wanted to get out and just preach the gospel, be an evangelist, even have a prophetic gift, see signs, wonders, and miracles. The more I traveled, the more I encountered people in business, and more I encountered people in business. And there is something else YouTube before you. Okay. Then when I encountered I encountered people in business, I encountered the fact that they needed some input. They needed some input from the Word of God. At the time, there was a lot of attention on self-improvement, a lot of attention on growth and personal growth and who you were to become successful. And I found that there were truths in the Bible that just really were solid truths to help us become successful. So I started sharing those with the people that I was meeting with. Wasn't really intending to start a coaching business. Someone, people started to ask me if I would be a part of their coaching, help them get to that next level. It went from just being Bible to being practical and being pragmatic and being, going through training and development for success coaching. And then, there's been this shift in the last years of how to do this, how to do that. And I find that there's a lot of people that are learning how to, but they still have never worked on the development of themselves to be able to put the how to's in place. And there's a singular thought, there's a singular thing that we must engage in order to become people who can fulfill what we're learning to do. You can learn to become a doctor, but if you don't ever take on the identity and the confidence of a doctor, you will never perform it. So you have these internships, you have opportunities of training that give you the practicum, the real practical application. But at the same time, you're not only learning how to do the work of a doctor, but you're learning who you are as a doctor. And part of what your growth is and your who you should become in the future is someone who's working on themselves as you're learning how to do what you want to do. If you're not working on yourself, then there's a core aspect of you that will fight what you want to do. And so it's very important that you work on yourself. Today, I want to talk to you about one thing that I think is extremely pivotal in working on yourself to become who you need to be to do what you want to do. So you have to become something. You have to become someone. A lot of people say, well, I want to accomplish this, but they never think about what do they have to become? Who do they have to become? I'm going to learn. I'm going to go to the Pinterest. I'm going to go to Google. I'm going to go to YouTube. I'm going to go to the platforms and I'm going to learn. I'm going to take someone's e-course, I'm going to develop, I'm going to learn how to do it. Well, then you find a lot of people who learn how to do something, they just are not applying. There's something like 80% of the people who take a course don't apply that course. They don't actually give the information an opportunity, a chance to work, because they don't actually do it. They don't do it. And if they do it in a modified way, because they have to make that course fit them and not them fit the course. They don't fit the identity of what that process is. There's a process to everything. There's a certain way that things are successful. And if you change that certain way, you actually change the success of it. So you have to become the person who is going to fulfill that, the person who's going to actually do it. And this core thought is, to me, I think the most important is it's a proverb 23 verse 7. We're going to look at this from a couple of different ways. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this today. I just want to give you this core thought, let you go, let you work with it, because it's very powerful. It says, for as he thinks in his heart, so is he. Eat and drink, he says to you, but his heart is not with you. Now, this is extremely important, because we have two things working. We have the thinking and we have the heart. But we have to say the thinking is done from the heart. As a man thinks in his heart, so he is. Then he says to you with his thinking, or with his mouth, eat and drink. And then but in himself, he's saying, he's not with you. I'm not on your side. So what is this? What is this actually saying? It's very simple, even though it seems a little complicated. As a man thinks in his heart. So there's a thinking part of you that's in your heart. There's a thinking part of you that's in the spirit, and there's a thinking part of you that's in your brain. So all aspects of thinking can be done in any one of these levels. Thinking in the spirit, thinking in your soul, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, and thinking in your heart, where is the bedrock of your core, who you are. That's your core identity. So even though you may have feelings in one aspect, but your core identity will always draw you. You may feel like you want to go and be successful, but the core identity of who you see you are is going to actually wrestle with that feeling. And you'll find yourself in a contention with yourself, because you want to go to your next level, but you have these core feelings. Your mind says, I need to make more money. Your heart says, I want to make more money. Your core says you're not worthy of more money. So when you start to wrestle with the core, what you say in your heart, it is more powerful than what you're going to learn in any course, more than what you're going to learn in any school. There's a lot of people that go through school. I think it's something like 70% of people who go through college who never work in that industry that they went to school for. What did they learn? They learned certain aspects of they learned themselves. They learned they really didn't want to do it. They have all of these different things, but they did not learn to do and become who they needed to be in order to work in that field. Now that's important, because your core, who you are in your core, who you are in your thoughts, your feelings, and your emotions, in your soul, and who you are in the spirit, in the thinking, in the spirit realm. There's a thinking place in the spirit realm. When you understand that those things are going to work together, they have to work together in order for you to be successful. So as you're working, as this man, as this woman thinks in their heart, let's start with that first of all. As you think in your heart, this is what that word he thinks. He thinks it's as they're splitting things, is dissecting things, as you're opening up things. This is how your heart feels. Your heart opens up something, and it has this sense of feeling. It's not a sense of thinking. You have to continue to open it, get past certain intimidations, because your rational mind is going to kick in and go, okay, this is what I think about this. But I feel first before I think. And when you realize your heart is always going to speak first, you have to get your heart to think right. And then you can get your mind to think right. Once your mind starts thinking right, then you'll actually be able to go, I believe this. Now I have to work on my core. So one of the core things that we don't actually work on is our background, our upbringing. When you go through counseling, they do a lot in your upbringing for the sake of going, what is core here that's interrupting the pattern of what you want. You want a lovely relationship with someone, but you keep breaking that relationship. You lose sincerity in the relationship. You lose connection in the relationship, because there's something working at the inner core, your animalistic core, the the culture of who you are. And so when you go into counseling, you go to those places, they spend a lot of time working on, okay, let's talk about your childhood. Listen, I'm this old now. Why are we going back there? Because that's the one that's still speaking. It's still holding. It's either going to put a jetpack on you and you're going to fly, or it's going to put weights on you and it's going to hold you back. It's going to hold you down. And the goal of personal development is to cut the weights, put on the jetpack so you can go without having a back conversation. We always say it's a back conversation, but the conversation sounds like it's speaking from here, but it's really speaking from your heart. Your heart saying, do you really deserve to be successful? How come you would be successful? Why would you be the person that's successful? Why would God want to bless you? Now, that is from the core, because some event, some circumstance, some belief, some value that you've had from the time that you were young, a child, or in early education, has trained you with this feeling that's associated to an experience. So most of our heart connections are associated to some core experience. That core experience is galvanized a memory, a moment that is now constantly speaking to my life. And so we need to get rid of that. Do you really believe that you can be the millionaire, the billionaire? Because remember when you made that decision, and that decision really, you lost a lot of money. Well, that then becomes an emotional core and an emotional place connected to your core. So you have to change the way you think in your heart. And there's two ways to change how you think in your heart. And there's more, but I'm going to give you the gist of it. The gist of it is, you have to change the words that you're saying, and you have to change the pictures that you're feeding yourself. So if you're not feeding yourself the right pictures, your heart is going to constantly say the picture that it's most vivid in its mind. So the most vivid part of you is always going to be connected to a sensory of pain or pleasure. So whatever's most vivid is going to come back. So anytime I'm making a decision, the highlighted, illuminated thing that will come to me will be the time before when I tried to make this decision. It's in a really caused me pain or caused me pleasure. It's associated to a picture, and it's associated to words. The way I keep that feeling and that image alive is I talk and describe that picture over and over and over again. You'll hear people, and you'll hear these Freudian slips, these slips that are Freud had the idea that what comes out spills out of your mouth, and a consistent repetitive is kind of like a hint to where your real image is. The real image is hidden in that space. And he, so these slips that come out of your mouth, you're saying the same thing, always coming back to that. You don't hear it, I hear it. Someone else hears it, but you don't hear it. It's the slip of your, he's coined Freudian slip because he was the doctor that identified it. All right, so when you understand that this is extremely important, that you listen to the words that come out of your mouth, because the words that come out of your mouth are associated to an image. They're associated to a picture. That picture is associated to a pain or pleasure, and it's associated to a moment in time. So when you want to correct these things, you have to actually rebuild the framework of you have to build a new place. You have to build new pictures. You have to build new words, and you have to do this intentionally by making sure that you say in your heart these things. You have to speak to your heart, and you have to say to your heart these things. Now, you don't just say it out loud. When you say it out loud, you're not really directly saying to your heart. There's a understanding that if I say something in an affirmation, that's great. It's going to come to me because I'm going to say it in repetition. Repetition is another one of those things that I didn't bring in there. So if you want to say it, you have to say it. You have to do it in repetition, saying it in your heart. What you actually say in a very, very easy way is what you've been saying for a long time. Something that comes out of you, spills out of you, and it's just like second nature. It's something that you've rehearsed in your mind through pictures and through words over and over, and now it's your second nature. Now it's a part of that core nature we call second nature, that part of that core nature of you really believe it, it's who you are, it's the value that you bring. So what does this have to do with anything? Some of you, I'm going to just say you, some of you are not able to achieve the success that you want because you have not corrected the core voice in you. You are hopeful with your heart, with feelings, and you're intentional with the mind learning of how to. But this part is a dragging. This part of your core is dragging you back. It's a resistance to your future. And until you get that corrected, and you're willing to do whatever it takes, that means that person, that thing has to stop talking to you. You have to actually get that old man. We should, the Bible calls it an old man, and the Bible calls it a flesh man. You have to get that old man and that flesh man in alignment with the vision. Otherwise, it will keep dragging you back. The old man and the flesh man do not have the same intentional desire for you to go. It's like the rest of this. It's like the old man is like the rest of this. And I should come back and talk about the old man and the flesh man more. But it's like this. He says, eat and drink, but he says to you, but his heart is not with you. So when you think about the old man, this is like the old man. The old man is like that. Oh yeah, eat and drink, but they don't have the qualifications for it. That's the old man. The old man is like, yeah, let's do that, but I really don't like to work, right? The old man is going to constantly pull you back. It's that inner core voice. Hopefully you're capturing this. When you understand that what you say in your heart is extremely important. And so you have to actually work on your heart. So let's look at this word thinks again, because when you think, you're splitting things open. You're opening up, to make a covenant, you open up, you split things open. When you read a contract, you're going and you're splitting it open. When you're judging a circumstance, you're splitting things open. You have to know that that's going to be part of your success. You're going to constantly be in evaluation mode of splitting things open. And whether your heart wins, or whether I know how to do it wins, or whether your spirit wins, whatever's going to win is going to be based upon who is going to have, which part of you is going to have the right pictures, is going to have the right words, is going to have the ability, the emotional intelligence to bring everything together in a congruent way where you can go through without limiting yourself, without putting limiting doubts on yourself, without putting fear in front of you. And when you get all of that handled, when you have no fear, no more limiting doubts, no more revisiting from the childhood, no more revisiting from those things, and you're completely reliant on the leader of who you are, you know how to do it. I know what to do. I know who I am in this. I know what I'm accomplished. I know why I'm doing it. There's a lot of things that you need to have in alignment when you're going after personal growth and personal success. People think I just going to learn how to do it. And no, it's not the key. The key is who you are in doing it, not what you're doing. It's who you are in doing it. That's why you have gone through so many things trying to figure out how to do it. But it's never you. That's never you. Those things that you're doing are someone else, and you've learned how to do it from someone else, and you've never made it your own. And you've got to make it your own. You've got to put it with the connection of who you are core, and you got to put it with the connection of what you do and what you love to do and how you love to help people. You got to find the right emotions. Otherwise, your heart's going to keep talking you out of it. It's not just your heart. The emotional part of you thinks. And then when it thinks, it feels. And the description of how I feel, what do you feel about this? Well, I feel, we do that. We have that language always in business. And we look past it because we're thinking, we say, I think we should do this. What we're really, or we say, I feel like we should do this. Both of those words, I think we should do this, I feel like we should do this, are not coming from, I have a plan, a solution. This is the calculation. This is the analysis that I have. Most of the time it comes from, I've analyzed something in such a way that I feel like we should move forward on it. And that's what the splitting is. You're going to have to be okay with the fact that you split, but how do you split? What kind of worker, how do you work? Do you work at analyzing things? Do you split with going and talk to other people? Do you split with meditation, sitting and meditating, or do you split with just convincing yourself not going forward? Either way, there's a way of rationalization, and you have to figure out, how do you rationalize? Do I rationalize with collecting people, places, and things? It's always going to be that, people, places, and things. So if I am going to be emotional, I'm going to talk to people. I'm going to be, what do you think about this? If I'm going to collect things, I'm going to now collect an analysis. I'm going to go and read the research. I'm going to go and read the reports. I'm going to go and collect the things that are necessary. the places. I'm going to see where this has worked and where this I'm going to analyze because I like the atmosphere environment. So you have to know, how do you split things? So when you're thinking in your heart, you're splitting stuff. When you're listening to someone, you're going, you may be listening to me going, I don't know if he knows what he's talking about. Well, that's your split. I don't care. I don't care about your split. I do. I'm trying to help you, but if you don't have the proper understanding, that's your problem. But my help is for you to understand that there is a way that you split things, and you're going to be the gatekeeper of your future. Look what this rest says. You act as a gatekeeper. When you act as a gatekeeper, you're reasoning something out, you're calculating, you're reckoning, you're estimating, you're thinking in your heart. So you're struggling and you're wrestling in the midst of it. I wish all of my thinking was in my head. I do. I wish I could get the how-tos, and that was enough, because then my heart would have nothing to do with it. And then when I woke up every morning, I would say, yes, I want to go and do that. And then when I run into a problem, I'm like, no problem at all. Let's just keep going. But my heart is going to be constantly talking through the whole thing, splitting this. So I need to get my heart on the right page with me. I need to get it on the right page. You understand? So always work to get your heart on the right page. That's a part of personal development. Otherwise, you're going to keep getting enough information, but you don't have enough inclination, enough innovation, enough invention, enough heart, enough passion, enough of that creative force, enough energy to go and do it. Energy is so important for your destiny. And if you don't get your heart right, you'll lose all of that energy. So energy is not something we can actually get with a Red Bull, or energy we can get with coffee. That's stimulation. That's different. That I'm not talking about stimulation. We need to live. The heart is constantly splitting something. It's saying, do I like it or don't like it? And if you like it, you get energy. If you don't like it, you get a different energy of backing up. Energy is going to be there because the heart pumps energy. The heart is always about where the energy is going. So if the energy is there, you're going to move forward. If the energy is not there, you're going to move out of it. So you want to know that, well, if you're splitting it and you're for it, and the pictures are aligned and everything's aligned, you're going to move into it. But if nothing aligns, then you're going to try to find a way to back out of it. And you don't want to keep backing out of things. Otherwise, success is never going to find you, and you won't find success. You have to chase success, and then until success is chasing you, and success is going to be attracted to you when the energy is right. When the energy is right, when people can feel that the energy is right, they work with you. They want to work with you. They like working with you. They love working with you. That's the energy is right when you move that. All right, so I was going to go to another place, but I'm going to just do this real quick. So in the heart is this interesting thing, because this word heart is nefesh. This nefesh is literally about your core being. It's about the animalistic side of you, not the intelligent side of you. It's not the person that you've grown to be. It's the very lowest form of your nature. So what you want to do is elevate the lowest form of your nature. Why is the vision, the picture that comes to you when you're in a trial, when you're in a problem, in a challenge? Why is the picture of your failure? Because that's the lowest form of your nature. Your lowest form, that animalistic nature will always be instinctive to the lowest form, the lowest developed place in you. And the lowest developed place in you is always a pain that you have not overcome. It's a challenge that you've not gotten past. And when you make a decision that you want to go past it, the lowest anchor is going to keep you anchored to it. And you've got to get rid of that, because the heart is talking about this animalistic. Look what it says today. It's the breathing creature. It's the simplest form. Now, if you remember back in the garden, God first created man, created the animal, the beast, and then he breathed into man to separate him from being just a breathing nefesh. He wanted us to be more than a nefesh. He wanted us to be more than that animalistic nature. He wanted us to have a living soul, a soul. So he breathed into man and made us a living soul, which is the part we're talking about. The upper echelons of your soul are the parts that want to bring you up, grow you up, develop you up, counsel you up. But this nefesh wants to keep you to the animalistic nature, which is instinct. And the instinct of an animal is to fight or flight. This is the reason that people are having so much trouble with cortisol is because most people and stress, the stress hormone, is because most people still live at the nefesh level. And we have to elevate ourselves out of the nefesh level. And man will say in his heart, this is where we have to go. Oh, in the heart, we have to get our heart corrected, bring our heart to an elevated place, bring greater pictures and understanding of who you are at your core. Because it's always going to be your core that is stopping you from being who you're called to be. And I hope, I believe that you're getting this. I believe that this is effective and that this is going to help you, because the goal is to get you past your nefesh, not to lose heart, but to get the heart to work in conjunction with that breath that was given to us, the breath of a living soul, not just the animalistic, a breathing creature. That the breathing creature is different than the living creature, the creature that has a living soul, that breath side of God, who's able to innovate, that's able to create, that's able to contemplate. That is a difference. So don't go to your instincts to split things open, because you'll run, you'll fight, or you'll flee. So you want to go to the upper echelon of your mind in the realm of the soul, and you want to think, and you want to contemplate, and you want to exercise, because that's what thinking is. It's splitting and splitting and splitting and splitting and splitting until you completely convince yourself of the new nature of who you are and the new things that you're going to do and the new accomplishments. Then at that point, all of the energy that you've built up in convincing yourself will be energy to move you forward. Remember, coffee, the soft drinks, all the stuff that you put in your body for energy, it should literally be called stimulant, because it's not energy, it's stimulation. And stimulation is a kind of energy, but it's not the kind of energy that makes you a smart person and do great things. It just gives you an awake moment, but not a focus moment. You want to make sure that your heart is aligning and giving you focus. And that's where true focus comes in. True focus comes because you're peeling things apart properly. And you're properly like analyzing, and you're properly looking at, and you're looking at it from the emotional side. You're looking from the analytical side. You're looking at it from the environmental, the social side. You look at it from all the sides, and then you convince yourself with a working plan. You connect your how-tos to it, and you move forward in that. All right. So today, I want to give you an assignment this week to pay attention to your words. Pay attention to how often you say something over and over. If you're having a Freudian slip, that thing is slipping out of your mouth, you want to make sure that you catch it, because other people hear it, but you may not hear it. And if you can catch yourself hearing it, if you can catch yourself saying it, then you can catch yourself enough to change it. And that will be the first picture that you go back and you start working on. You start rearranging that thought. Where did that thought come from? Where did that get that thought? And you have to start, that's the critical thinking. You have to start peeling apart and think properly, peel it apart and go, where did that thing originate? Oh, over there. Okay, peel that apart. Where did that come from? Okay, right there. When did this happen? Oh, that's when that person said this to me. Ooh, that's how that happened. That's why we sit with counselors, is because they help us peel things, because they can see what we don't see. But you can see it if you just listen to yourself. All right, this is important for you to step into, walk it out, live it out, do well, be strong, be mighty. And, there's more that I want to say. Maybe I'll come back to the end of that next week. All right, this is Tracy Armstrong with Success Church. Go out and be successful. Do the things that God's called you to do. Be true to yourself and build your core to be true to the call. Amen. God bless you. We'll see you next week.
Life is too important to leave it up to chance. You and I are meant to live by design. You are a guided person with a divine purpose. You deserve to have input that matches your destiny. Imagine engaging with a decentralized media platform whose very purpose is to empower, educate, and entertain you as you live the most powerful and purposeful life designed by God. You're walking with destiny, and we're here to help you on the road that God has ordered for you. Imagine a platform that hosts music, ministry, movies, and marketplace content, all merging faith and entertainment. Join the movement of musicianaries and media missionaries, those who feel the restraint of the current media agenda and know that truth needs to be fought for and revealed to the world. Your destiny is calling, and the time is now. Let's partner together to establish God's kingdom through media. Destiny Channel, where faith meets entertainment.